I've been in the lawn care business for a long time, both on the mowing side and now doing weed control and fertilization. In this video, I want to share with you 5 different lessons that I've learned that I think are key principles as you either start or try to move forward in your lawn care career. So let's get started with these. Today's video is sponsored by Yardbook. I've been using Yardbook to run my business since 2015. That's been a while, and I've used it both on the mowing side and the weed control and fertilization side. So if you need a software to run your business, go to yardbook.com and sign up for a free account. Lesson number 1 when it comes to lawn care business, and I believe this is true on the mowing, but especially for weed control and fertilization, definitely with like landscaping and things like that. But quality wins the day, okay? I think that's an important principle. Quality, in my experience, wins out over price. Not that price is not a factor, it definitely is. But what I see is if you can be competitively priced and you deliver the best results, what that does is it improves your reputation, obviously, but ultimately, the lawn business is one of those industries which is profitable, but not so profitable that you can be inefficient, in my opinion. I actually did a video a couple years ago arguing that efficiency was more important than pricing, and I still kind of believe that. Not that pricing is not important. I'll have that video pop up for you now so you can watch that if you want to. The reason I think quality wins the day, obviously you don't want to lose customers, but more importantly than that is I think you are building that route density. When I mean route density, it's like how tight of a area can you get the most customers in that particular area. So if you go to one of those neighborhoods where they've got several hundred houses and they keep building them, they all look basically the same. How many houses can I get in here? How many lawns can I take care of? Well, if you have quality and a competitive price, then what you want is to become that company that the other people in the neighborhood, they start sharing on Facebook, they start seeing your yard sign on the street, and then there's another yard sign, before you know it, you got 25 yard signs in this neighborhood, and that just makes it all the more likely that you're going to get another 25 over the years and have 50 in that neighborhood. Well, then you become so efficient because you're not driving around all day that it actually helps your margins overall. So it's extremely important, because let's just say you had a little bit higher price, but your quality wasn't as good, and now your route's not as tight. I'm going to argue that you're not making as much money as the guy who maybe have a slightly lower price, and I'm not suggesting lowering your price, but I'm just making the argument that the quality is ultimately what wins, and I think people are willing to pay a fair price for quality versus a little bit of a cheaper price for something that's not very good or somebody that's unreliable. So quality wins the day, number 1. Number 2, you better enjoy what you're doing or you're going to get burned out. I see a lot of people, and this happens like people that are not self-employed, have regular jobs, and they're just going to the office every day or doing whatever they do, and they get burned out over the years. Well, the same is true for lawn care business. I've seen people that may be fairly excited when they start, and hey, look, this is going great, I'm out here working for myself, but check back with them 5-10 years in, and they're burned out on it big time. So I think that was something, I'm not saying that I was burned out. I had some years where I enjoyed it less than others. When I switched over to weed control and fertilization, it did kind of reinvigorate me, I guess you would say. I have found a new excitement, I found a new challenge, something new to learn, and it was not quite as physically tiring on my body. So that was helpful as well, and it's year-round. I mean, there was some positive things that made it more enjoyable. But for you, maybe it is mowing, or maybe it's, hey, I need to hire some people so it's not all on me, or maybe you want to experiment with landscaping, you just enjoy the process of that, or you want to get into irrigation or whatever. The point is not what you do, but do you enjoy what you do? Because this is an industry where people get burned out, and unfortunately a lot of times they get burned out and they don't have a great plan of what to do next, and it ends up being not a graceful landing, if you will. So I would take a hard look in the off season, probably annually, see, am I enjoying what I do? Am I improving at what I do? Because I think if you just plateau year after year after year, financially and just in the way you're able to operate, then you're more likely to experience burnouts. Number two, you need to enjoy it, or you need to adapt and find something else that you enjoy more. The third thing I want to mention is equipment, and equipment is slightly overrated is what I'm going to say. So what I mean by that is I think equipment is obviously hugely important, and I'm all for using whatever equipment you can get that's going to make your life easier. So like if I'm mowing yards, do I want to be out there with a push mower, or do I want a bigger mower that's obviously going to save me time and make me more efficient and more money? Well, of course I want the bigger mower. And I think equipment is super important, but I think the point I'm trying to make is sometimes equipment can be slightly overrated. I've seen these big companies out there mowing, they got plenty of money, and they send out 2 people with a box truck and 1 stand-on 48-inch mower, and that's what they send them out there with, now and a trimmer and a blower and all that, and edger. But it's just a very basic setup, because it's all about efficiency and it's all about margins. And if you got a trailer full of, you know, $100,000 worth of equipment, that's probably overkill, but you know, a lot of equipment, and you're out there still mowing the same yard for $65 that you could have mowed with that 1 stand-on mower, then I guess my point is, don't let the equipment hold you back. You can get started with a basic setup and then let the equipment move you forward, but be smart. I've used this example before. When I started mowing grass, I went and bought a bagging mower, and I didn't have hardly anybody that wanted to bag their lawn. It just didn't make a lot of sense at that point. I should have just stuck with the 1 mulching mower. Even if I had to turn down a few clients that needed their lawn bagged, I didn't need to go spend thousands of more dollars starting out for this bagging mower that I wasn't getting a good return on investment for that piece of equipment. So make your equipment purchases the ones that you need, but make sure you're just buying the ones that you're making sure you're getting a good return on investment when you buy it, and don't just buy it so you can get a new toy, because that puts financial stress on the company. The fourth lesson I want to mention to you is find your place quickly in the lawn care business, or you're going to struggle. What I mean by that is, yes, you can go buy a mower and start mowing lawns for $50 or whatever you want to do. That's fine. But you need to figure out a little bit of a strategy. I'm not saying you got to be super differentiated from everybody else. If you want to mow yards, that's fine. But even in doing that, we talked about route density, like, hey, I'm going to mow yards, and that's just what I'm going to do, mow and blow and go and all that stuff. But I'm going to focus on these areas so that I can, you know, be saturated in this area. Or I'm gonna do mowing 3 days a week, and I'm gonna try to get landscaping jobs, or I'm gonna get a weed control and fertilization. You know, don't just randomly go through there and start just taking on pressure washing jobs or what, unless that's what you do. I mean, that might be your thing too, but what I'm getting at is have a plan of what you're doing. Because if you're just out there taking on any random yard that somebody calls you, and you're no different than all the other people out there mowing yards, then I think you are going to struggle a little bit. What makes you different? What's your, what do they call it in business? I'm sorry, unique selling proposition. Okay, well, it's hard to be real unique mowing grass, but you know what? Sometimes all you got to do to be unique mowing grass is showing up and communicating very well with your customers and doing a good job. I mean, that would make you slightly unique, because not everybody does that. Maybe what makes you unique is you're doing 12-month service for all these people. Again, that would apply more if you live in the South, but we're going to show up 12 months and bill you, and we're going to take care of the hedges, the pine straw, the mulch, seasonal flower. We're going to do everything for you, including the mowing. We're going to be a one-stop shop. Or maybe it's we're going to target garden home neighborhoods, and we're going to push mow yards that are real small, and we're just targeting these several neighborhoods that have a lot of, you know, little small garden homes. Again, for me, when I switched over to weed control and fertilization, I'm not saying I'm the most unique weed control and fertilization company out there, but just doing that made me more unique than all the people that were mowing grass, because there's far less people doing that than there were doing weed control and fertilization, so that helped me. Before I get to the last one, I do want to mention I've got a lot of resources over at lawncarelife.com. There's a Weed Control and Fertilization Academy, which is a course if you're looking to get in weed control and fertilization. This is for people with warm season grasses. There's pricing charts. There's programs you want to know, like what to spray on the yards. There's also the 12-month mentoring program that I started, And if you want to check that out, there is a link in the description below, the first link in the description. You can actually book a free call with me. We'll talk about it, see if it's a fit for you. And the last lesson I want to mention to you is to plan with the end in mind. And what I mean by that, again, I hinted at it earlier. When people get burned out in the lawn care business and then they just quit and it doesn't go well, or they just keep on and it doesn't go very well, or they just got there mowing, kind of making enough money to get by, take all winter off, and then there's no way out of it. It's like, do you have a exit plan? Are you going to sell the business? Well, no, it's not big enough to sell, or not going to get much money. Are you going to try to self-retire by stashing away money as you work? That's kind of what I'm trying to do. You got to have some sort of plan. I don't guess you have to, but if you just say, well, I'm just going to work until I can't work no more, and then I'm going to quit, and hopefully I'll have enough money to live the rest of my life, or I'll go get another job. I don't think that's a great strategy. And this is no newsflash, but for people in the lawn care business, it seems like far more of them struggle on the business side than they do on the actual service side. It's really a shame when you see somebody who's very good at taking care of lawns, but very bad at taking care of a business, and they struggle with that. And oftentimes you see the opposite happen. We see somebody might not even be that great at taking care of lawns, but they're a good business-minded person, and they end up being successful, even though their quality of their work is not as good as somebody who's terrible at business. So have an exit plan, whether that be to pass it on to the next generation, to sell it one day after you grow it big, or to aggressively invest in other means that's going to hopefully replace your income one day as you get older and don't enjoy the work as much as you used to, or just not able to do it, or it's just time to move on and do something else. I like to think that there's far more to life, even for somebody like me who's been doing lawn care for a long time. That's not the only reason God put me on this planet, is to mow grass or spray weeds. Okay, there's a lot of other things to do. So make sure that you're diversifying your life and not just living out there in the yard all the time. I hope this video has been helpful for you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one.